Hey, Philip, welcome. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good mixture of exploration and combat today. We're going to start off with some combat, move into some exploration, move into some more combat, and then into some more exploration until we end the stream. So, should be a fun time. Hey, Baggycack, welcome. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like the videos. Always happy to see new people show up on the stream. I hope you enjoy it today. If you have any questions while we're going, feel free to type them in chat or leave them in a comment on the video, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. But thanks again for being here. All the people who watch the videos are part of a great community here. It's always really good to see the interactions that we have in chat and that sort of stuff. So, glad to see you're taking part of it. It's a good group of people. Hey, Em, welcome. Andy, hey, great. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I saw your comment on the video. Yeah, it's too bad we weren't able to get the great sword in the honor mode, but she had Mr. Fantastic arms, it seems. She was able to grab that thing from 5 meters away. But it's easy to save scum it if you're not doing honor mode, so... Yeah, early game, it's a big boost for Lae'zel or Karlach if you're going Great Weapon Master, just because it helps offset that -5 to hit so well. Yeah, it's really nice to be able to have it and not have to cast Bless or do something else to help offset it. Andy, we're in the lower city. We're going to finish up a couple of things in the graveyard right at the start, and then we're going to head back to the Elfsong Tavern and finish the talking and exploration there, and then we will head to probably we'll go to Baldur's Mouth after that. And deal with the Baldur's Mouth Gazette, and then up to the Forge of the Nine and talk to Dammon again, and then we'll just see how much time we have, how far we can get to the Devil's Fee or Bonecloak's Apothecary and that sort of stuff. We'll just kind of have to take a look and see how much time we have today. The going through Baldur's Mouth takes a bit of time, and we're going to spend probably 30 minutes here at the start, finishing up in the graveyard. So we'll kind of see how far we can make it. But yeah, there's going to be a decent mix of combat starting out, and then some exploration, and then some more combat and some exploration at the end, so should be a good deal. You're finding it hard. I have 8 going right now. So yeah, I rely on all of you to help me keep track. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode number 39 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So I don't think we have anything on admin notes today, so on our recap, at the end of last week's episode, we had worked our way through the graveyard and gone through the named mausoleums there, and today we're going to finish up in the graveyard and then head back to the Elfsong Tavern and take care of a couple of things that we have to do there, we're still not going to go into the Emperor's hideout. We're going to save that for later, but we do have a couple other things to finish up in Elfsong. And then we're going to head to the Baldur's Mouth Gazette and deal with some bad publicity that we're about to get. So let's go ahead and jump right in here and we'll talk about what we're going to do to start. Yeah, Philip, it gets a little taxing, and then the fact that I've had to scrap one playthrough and start another one in its place is doubly hard to remember where I'm at. And the funny thing is that not a single one of them has finished the game yet. So that's even better. So here we are in the graveyard. So what did I do off stream? The main thing is that everyone has anointed in Splendor now. The one exception to that is Gale. And that's because Gale is aligned with Mystra. And Mystra is not talking to Gale right now because Gale refused to blow himself up using the Netherese orb when he was in the encounter with Ketheric, which was good for us because that would have given us a game over. But that means that Gale is not able to get anointed in Splendor from Mystra. When you go click on the Mystra statue, it says that Mystra has been silent and there's no reason to expect that she would respond now. And I don't want to get it from somebody else. I mean, I could. But Mystra is a big part of Gale's role-playing aspect, and even though I don't RP very much in this game, I think it's probably a, I don't know, kind of a little bit of a betrayal, I guess, to not, or to get it from somebody else. So I'm not going to get it with Gale. I can get it with other party members as we go, but yeah, I'm not going to deal with it with him. So other than that, I did some inventory cleanup, and that's really about it. So we're back here in the graveyard where we ended, and Nina Dortmel is here, and we're going to talk to her. And this is going to trigger something. So I want to get everybody kind of down here. Somewhat grouped up here. And I'm going to talk to Nina.
Psst. Keep a lookout. The Mortarch don't take kindly to raising the dead. But I won't be long, I promise. My big brother, Garrett. He got killed by that murderer guy. But I'm gonna fix him. Now, keep watch. Exorde me, Merkel. Resuscita frater meum. Immorte ad me redigo.
The air crackles with power before fizzing out. The child has power but lacks control.
You're close, Merkel. I can feel your shadow. Give my brother back, please.
Okay, so now we have some options here on what we want to do. We can give her a scroll of Revivify, which will bring her back. We can persuade her not to go through with this. We can use an Arcana check to give her the power to use Raise Undead, or we have a Warlock option here to do it. We can dissuade her from doing it, but she's going to keep trying. So I'm just going to pick the first option here.
Really? I'm gonna try it right now.
And when you do, you're going to get an ambush. And, well, not an ambush because you're not surprised. But here's her brother. She raised Garrett. Garrett raised some zombies and greater zombies here. And Mortarch Gracie is going to join in this fight as well. So we want to be careful. Nina is here. We want to be careful with AoE spells and that sort of stuff while we're down here. She's not going to be affected by certain things, as we'll see here in a minute. So with Shadowheart, the first thing that I want to do is, you would think that the first thing I would want is to cast Spirit Guardians and to wade into this. And that's true. However, you're not going to be able to kill all of them on your turn. And you want to protect yourself from what is going to happen as well, because we have some serious enemies here, in that he grants necrotic he gets necrotic veil every turn, which means he's going to get 20 additional hit points at the start of every one of his turns. So it's something else you have to beat your way through to get to his health pool. He has the Undead Ward aura, so all of these undead are going to be resistant to the normal damage types. You can see they are not resistant to radiant damage, which is good, but they do have extra attack here as well. The zombies have Undead Fortitude, so when that's Death Ward. So if you strike them down, they will pop back up with 1 hit point unless you deal that damage with radiant damage. And that's what's kind of important here, is that you can go through and you can beat a bunch of them down close to being dead, and then you can pop either Destructive Wave, Radiant, or Spirit Guardians, Radiant, and help mop them up so that they don't raise again. So we're going to kind of approach this a little systematically. Now, I have all of my characters going first, which is really good for us. So I'm going to... Okay, I'm going to have Gale drop Darkness first. They are not immune to Darkness. He's going to be able to cause the least amount of damage here against multiple targets. So I'm going to have him drop a Darkness first. Okay, and now everybody's blinded. Except for me, of course. So, Gale, I'm just going to kind of move into the middle here. Now, as for Garrett, I need to start beating Garrett down as much as I can. And he's a large size enemy. So I'm going to have, even if he wasn't blinded, I would have advantage on this against large, huge, or gargantuan creatures because of Baldurin's Giant Slayer. I also have an option here to deal additional damage to him because he's large, so we can take an extra 2d6 damage. So I'm going to be utilizing everything I can here with this, and my passive Great Weapon Master here still means I have an 88% chance to hit. So I'm going to do Topple the Big Folk on him, see if we can get this to land, and see if we can drop a level 3 Divine Smite on top of it, and see what happens to poor Garrett here. Actually, before we do that, he's resistant to necrotic, probably. Yes, he's resistant. And I'm going to save Great Weapon Master all in just in case this actually, boom, goes the dynamite here. So we'll drop this on Garrett and see where we end up. Okay, so 59 damage there. No, that wasn't 59. That must have been a 5 that popped up on top of it. Yeah. It was a 5 for slashing damage that popped up on top of 19. So it added in the strength modifier, even though this is a bound paladin weapon, or a bound warlock weapon, it's still adding my strength modifier. I think Lord Henry asked that in one of the previous streams, if it was still going to add my strength modifier if I was using my charisma to hit and to damage. And yes, you can see it does add that in. And that's why I'm using Elixirs of Hill Giant Strength with him, is because Baldur's Greatsword is going to be adding in that +5 strength modifier. You can see it in the damage roll there. So I'm getting +4 for my charisma modifier. I'm adding my proficiency damage to it. I'm adding the +5 strength modifier, and then the +10 Great Master all in. So yeah, it was actually, I take that back. It was a big number. So he rolled 38. He's got slashing resistance. It cut it in half. Added in 2, added in 1, adding in a straight 5 slashing, or 10 slashing damage, and he's resistant to half of it. So I'm going to add a Divine Smite. And then he failed on prone. So now I'm able to get advantage on attacks. I don't need it again. So what I'm going to do is go after a zombie here. There's a reason for that. Okay, I was hoping to be able to kill him. Oh, I did kill him. And he popped up again, but now I can use a bonus action, Great Weapon Master all in, because I killed him, to do what? Okay, that was weird. It was like the animation failed or something. And Garrett's done. And it's important to get rid of Garrett first, because that drops Undead Ward on everybody else. So now none of the zombies are resistant to any type of damage here at all. So that helps illustrate what Baldur's Greatsword does as far as damage riders. And remember that Garrett was resistant to all of that slashing damage. If he wasn't resistant to it, that would have been 38 damage plus the Divine Smite 32 plus the 10 from Balduran's plus the 1 acid and 2 fire. So he would have probably been very close to being one shot if he wasn't resistant to slashing damage to begin with. So the damage riders going along with Balduran's are just incredible. And the other thing that I did not do was use Giant Form. I did not use Balduran's to increase my my size there. The class action here. That would have added an additional 1d6 damage to my strike. Okay, so it's a really valuable weapon, especially on a dual wield or a two-handed weapon paladin. So now we can start mopping up the other enemies. And for Astarion here, Need to look at something. Okay.
Let's play.
Okay. And that's the power of Astarion. So we will end his turn. We'll end my Paladin's turn. Gale I'm going to hold off on.
Got to focus.
And now here, we have Destructive Wave that we could throw out here. However, I don't think we're really going to need it. We've got one greater zombie left. So I don't think we're going to deal with it. I'm going to pop a Radiant Spirit Guardians here. Okay, and I think I'm just going to keep it right there.
I speak, they burn.
Gale does have an offhand attack he can make here. Yeah, I'm just going to keep him back.
Sometimes the only way
Let's
out is
actually
through.
move my Paladin here. With its 22 armor class, even without a shield.
Let's have some fun.
Let's move Astarion back out of the way as well. Hopefully let the skeletons and the zombies go after Shadowheart and my Paladin.
Now, allow me to
They're going to have
demonstrate.
disadvantage on the attacks, but still. Perfect. Easy peasy.
Come on, can't stay idle.
Oh. Big numbers. Like to see them. And yeah, being able to use Great Weapon Master, use your bonus action for a Great Weapon Master attack that's full damage from Baldurins is really, really nice. Because we're getting 4 main hand attacks now, not just 3. And we're getting, as long as we can kill a lesser enemy there, it's going to grant us the 4th. So we're adding in a bunch of additional damage here by being able to use Great Weapon Master there.
I'm ready.
Now most of these should have 1 hit point left, or all of them, I guess. So we'll just use Astarion to clean them up. Easy enough.
Which way to the nearest?
Flowers, every color of the I ruined it! I ruined everything!
Okay, so we will
Wits and blades.
cancel
always
concentration from
No
Shadowheart.
time to rest.
And now we can go through and do some searching here. I don't think any of the skeletons... Oh, they do have a few things. Not much.
Open up.
Okay.
Bustle. Still, we must flow with...
Garrett is going to have plate armor that you could sell. Really, really nice item to be able to sell. Okay, and that gets everybody. We'll pick up a couple of bone caps.
Maybe I need more pockets. Another
And now we have one more mausoleum to look at here, and that's the Grand Mausoleum. So we will get Astarion to lockpick this.
Let's get going.
And we're gonna pop in, and we're not gonna move when we get in here. Okay. We need to make sure... Okay, so we have the Amulet of Harpers. This is going to give us advantage on perception checks, because perception is a wisdom check. We also want to make sure that...
I wonder what the next move is.
Guidance is active.
More interesting times.
Okay, there's one.
It's a trap.
Failed that one. Rolled a 6 with advantage.
Best be on my way.
Failed again. Rolled a 9 with advantage. Okay, so this shield gets us advantage on perception checks again.
There is work to do. Onward then.
Wow. An 8 with advantage. Come on. Okay. Wow. Okay, so... Astarion's not going to have a great chance.
Careful, I'm behind. Traps.
Okay, finally.
How considerate.
Okay, there are 3 vent traps in here. You need to disarm these. You can't... Well, you could cover them up, I believe. But one way or another, you need to disarm them or disable them. Yeah, they seem to be carried over from honor mode, David. Wow. Okay, and last one.
Over here.
Oh, jeez. Get all of these out of the way now, please. Okay, so
Still breathing.
now
Despite
we
everything.
need to open the
My faith
sarcophagus.
will guide me.
This is going to be
Still
a
alive.
strength
So that's
check,
progress.
and I want... There it is. And is there a half-orc in here? Yes. Okay, so that gets me the mark of the shifter.
Never wanted the easy path.
And we'll recast guidance here. Let me just swap these things back out since you don't have to keep them on to keep mark of the shifter.
I'm ready.
And we do have the elixir of hill giant strength because this is a strength
If
check.
not over, then through.
Okay, so mark of the shifter applies here. Guidance applies here as well. You could add in giant form, so you can use Baldurin's greatsword as an action here to increase, to get an advantage on this strength check. Hopefully we don't need it. And we didn't need any of these bonuses. And in here are 2 keys. Okay, you're going to need those 2 keys.
What's in here?
So first we can do a little searching here. And these 2 opulent chests use the offerings keys. Okay. So then we have another room here. And coming in here, you have a crumbling journal on the table. This book is really important. So I was still a supplicant when I came face to face with him, masked in gold, his skin fine and worn as parchment. Jurgle, the Death Keeper, the end of everything. I asked what he needed of me. He asked a simple question: what is the worth of a single mortal's life? Haven't we heard that question before? The answer is yes, we have, and it came from Withers when we first met him. This journal is saying that the person who asked him that same question was Jurgle when they met him in the past. So this actually is letting you know that Withers is actually Jurgle, the Death Keeper, the end of everything. He's the final scribe, the Lord of the end of everything. He was the god of death before the Dead Three became gods in his place. And there's a whole lore behind that in Forgotten Realms and all of that sort of stuff. It's been alluded to here in the abandoned ruins, the overgrown ruins, I mean, in Act 1, right off the beach. You learned about the deal that the Dead Three made with Jurgle to split up kind of Jurgle's dominion into various pieces among the Dead Three. So this is letting you know basically that Withers is actually Jurgle, and that's where the source of his power is coming from, is the fact that he is the old god of the dead. In here is a corpse rose that you can pick up. There are also various books and items like that that you can search out of the shelves here. And we're going to be picking up a little bit more because we're going to be getting into something a little bit later on here today. And you'll see why we need all the money we can get. So I'm going to just pick up a bunch of little things here and there. But other than that, there's nothing else that you're going to find here in the ancient mausoleum. Now, when you open the sarcophagus, it will trigger these 3 vent traps. These vent traps let out Hunger of Hadar in a large radius. So it gets very, very dangerous to be in here if you don't disarm them before you open their sarcophagus. There's no way to disarm them. There's no trap trigger to disarm on the sarcophagus. As soon as you open it, they're going to trigger. So make sure you disarm them before you start that. Okay, so now we've finished up in the graveyard here. So we're going to head back to the Elfsong Tavern. There's a couple of things that we need to do in here, and we want to finish those up. So let's head back there real quick. Remember, we just walked in, we dealt with the rats in the basement, got our achievement because we were drunk when we killed them, and then got our new rooms. So if we take a long rest here, we're going to end up in there. But we do want to head back in here and deal with a couple of things. I'm taking the long way around for a reason. We're going to head in here. And you can see that there's a room we haven't been in. You can read the sign. The Laff Riot is now open. And in here is Harvard Willoughby.
I want to have a word.
Hey, smart stuff. I'm Willoughby, the comedian. And we got a little contest here called the Laff Riot. You want to play along? It's all about the boffo yolks. We see who can tell the funniest stories, and the winner gets the prize. Great! I'll go first to show you how it's done, and then you can see if you can top me. Hello, Baldurians! You know, I wouldn't be here tonight, except my wife ran off with a cambium. That's right, I got fiend zoned. We used to have a drow comedian. I had to ask her to stop casting Tasha's hideous laughter on the audience. Then I asked her how many drow it takes to light a torch, and she said, none. We have dark vision. So I killed her.
The Elfsong patrons think that one's funny. There may be hope for you yet.
Your turn, smart stuff. Knock 'em dead, but not literally. Got me?
Okay, so there are choices here that are going to get the audience to laugh and others that won't. Okay, so we're going to go through the ways to win the Laff Riot here. And the first is by making fun of Willoughby.
Got me with an ancient jest that's older than I am.
Okay, the next, and you can intimidate the audience into applauding, and that will automatically win if you do that. However, you don't have to. The next one is the Dragonborn.
Win or lose, I'm stealing that one.
And again, another intimidation check here. The last one is the cleric option here.
Pig jokes are never wrong. Well done.
Cheers, whistles, and applause. You're almost shocked.
Yeah, you're hilarious. Now get out of here before I lose my job.
Okay, and you will get an inspiration out of him if you have the anybody with an entertainer background. You'll gain an inspiration out of that. You will also, if you lose, gain an inspiration out of that with the entertainer background as well. It's just going to be two different ones that are titled, and it's kind of funny to see them when they pop up. So for next,
It looks like I'll be making for next time.
okay, I'm just going to open this up. Just a storeroom here. Everything's marked as steel, but you can go in, close the door, and steal everything if you're in need of camp supplies or anything like that. And next, I need to go up to the roof, or up to the first floor, like the game calls it. Now remember, the Flaming Fist are on guard down here because this was the site of Stelmane's murder that we learned about. These are our rooms
A place to
here.
receive clients and informants. I wonder if it's as I remember it.
These are our rented rooms, so if you want to go to camp, you can just click on this doorway here. We're going to head into the double doors here. And here's Gauntlet Devella.
Oh, bollocks! I told those idiots not to let anyone through. You. Name, rank, and reason for interrupting an active crime scene. For your sake, the last one better be bloody good. To fetch her another bottle of mead, no doubt. Yes, I'm Devella. The unfortunate colleague. Unless you've got useful information, leave me to my work. Duke Stelmane's dead, and I've got to find who killed her. Gods. That's it. Proof that I was right. I've been working on an assignment, see? A research project of sorts. I knew my conclusions were sound, but this... I never expected this. I'll tell you what I know. A century ago, there was a man, Sarevok Anchev. He was a child of the god of murder, Baal. He ruled the Iron Throne, a dark tower hiding a darker secret. It was the front for a deadly arms-dealing network. There, Sarevok amassed an army and sought to become a god. Under his stewardship, the Baal Temple was revived. And with it, the Baal cult itself. Fortunately, the temple was destroyed. And to cleanse the city of Sarevok's memory, the Iron Throne was torn from its foundations and cast into the Chionthal. For most, that was the end of it. But cults like that don't disappear overnight. That list you spoke of confirms I'm right. The Baal cult is back, and someone is out there, continuing Sarevok's work. God save us all if you're right. But I believe it. Whoever it is, they're intimately familiar with Sarevok's work. The brutality of the killings is on a par with Sarevok's own. But there's something more here. Something new. There's a reference to these murders. A certain flair. It's as if they were done in worship. The precision of the cuts. The depth, the execution. The best butchers in Faerun couldn't make a cut like that. Trust me, I've asked them. I tried to explain all this to my superiors, but they wouldn't have any of it. They told me to drop it. Told me the city doesn't need another conspiracy theorist and to get back to doing my job before they find someone else to do it for me. But you're not bound by such constraints. Oh, help me out here. Help the city out. I bet if you follow the trail of these murders, you'll be able to unearth the truth of this resurgence. Believe me, I wish I could, but I need this job. There are patriarchs on the murder target list. I'm oathbound to secure them first, so I'll be heading to the upper city next. While I'm there, the other potential victims will be at risk. Could you warn them? Not from round here, are you? We're in Baldur's Gate. This is just how things work. Thank you. That's all I can ask, and more than I hoped. Once I'm done with the Patriarchs, I'll head to Basilisk Gate to have another go at convincing my superiors to put some resources into this matter. Meet me there if you've anything more to report. And good luck.
Okay, so we've talked to Devella here, and she gave us a bunch of information about the murders here, and this is expanding upon the Ballast plot here in the city. Okay, yeah, we're going to get to the Blushing Mermaid later. We got the Strange Ox. He's going to be an ally for us later. We're going to visit the Emperor's old hideout, but just not now. And we did complete Revere's storehouse. So we learned a lot about the Ballast plot, and there was a lot of mention there about Sarevok. Sarevok is the big bad from Baldur's Gate 2. For those of you who didn't play that game about 1,000 years ago, when I played it. But yes, he is brought back in this game in a bunch of lore like this. So it's, again, really good to see them, the developers, hearkening back to previous games and filling us in on, or, you know, bringing a lot of that into the current world. It's, like I say, it's really nice to see. So, up here, for the discarded wine bottle, and I can't remember if there's a check here or not.
Can't afford to stay idle.
So I'm going to put on guidance just to be on the safe side. There might be.
Unusual bottle. And the smell is, certainly memorable.
Okay, so there wasn't.
No one back home will ever believe this.
There are some things that you can pick up, and then over here on the table are some notes.
Nothing.
Okay, so it's a ritualistic killing. Right hand is missing. Mark of the Absolute on the floor. Empty bottle recently drained of contents, may be poison. There's a bloody signet ring here on the floor.
Guess the killer didn't want jewelry.
And then here is a map of murder on the table. Okay, the map of the city bears a single mark of the location of one murder site where the slain were arranged into a grotesque tableau. And that's going to advance the murder quest. So we need to find the victims on this list.
Moving ahead.
Oops. And now if we look at our map, we're going to have various locations where there are murder targets on the map that we're going to need to go deal with. Now, we already talked to the chef here in the Elfsong Tavern, who was one of them. But now we need to talk to the others as we're going here. Okay. Now there's one more thing we can do here. There's a ladder here, which takes us up to the roof. Now, for those of you who are playing this through without horrifically bad rolls, standing right here will be Alfira. And you can talk to her for the third time, basically, between Acts 1, Act 2, and Act 3. If she survived, you can talk to her up here and have your last set of interactions with her. She's not here at this point, but there is a loot on the ground in remembrance of the fact that she would be here.
That might be worth a look.
So we'll pick that up just in memory of poor Alfira. But then in here, there are also various things on the roof that you can pick up and get ready to sell. There are some camp supplies mixed in here. Okay. And now while you're up here, the roof here gives you really, really good access to other roofs around the city. So keep this in mind, because the rooftops are they are ever changing. And what I mean by that is that you can see that we have nests up here on the roof, right? There's a reason for that. We met Tara, Gale's Tressum pet, in Rivington. She was on the roof of the Open Hand Temple. She flew away, and she's now here in the lower city. She will move to 3 different rooftops here in the lower city. She starts at 1. Once you interact with her, you can, and take a long rest, she will move to a different rooftop, and you can meet her again there and talk to her again. And the reason you do that is because she sells 2 different items, and she also has another item you can loot from her if you would like. So especially if you have the fly ability, because again, there are nests around here. If you have the fly ability, because you've taken the astral tadpole, from here it's really easy to maneuver around to various rooftops to have access to different locations. And depending upon where you are, you may find Tara on one of those rooftops. Okay, so just keep it in mind that this is an easy way to access a lot of rooftops that is not guarded and is not marked as trespassing when you're doing it. We want to head up here to the top, but before we do it...
What's next, I wonder? You need to pick me up.
No time to rest.
Okay, up here there's a pouch that you can search that has 3 dream mist in it. And I should have picked that up. But this location, you can see feathers again. Like I say, keep all of this in mind. And the other thing about, and I don't think it actually reaches that far. It might, though. I haven't actually tested it from this rooftop. Oh, it does. You have access to a lot of rooftops from here. I had completely forgotten about going straight over here. I knew you could get from this corner to here. I didn't think that you could get straight across to here. That's actually really, really good. Normally, to access this roof, you either have to do it from here, and on the outside of the building there are platforms. Now, this platform is hidden from this one, so you can't jump. You have to use fly to get around it, and then you can get up here. Or, like I said, I know you can access it from the corner of that rooftop to the corner of this rooftop. I didn't think that it would stretch this far, but you can. We're going to access this rooftop here in a little bit, just not right now. Okay, but the fly spell, or the fly ability, is very, very nice to have. So if you haven't taken an astral tadpole with everybody on your, and I forgot a mug of beer here,
a bag of holding.
In your party, because you don't like the look of it or something like that, that's fine, but at least have one person who can do it. Okay, so now we're going to, and there are a couple more here we can pick up. Now we're going to head downstairs. Okay, so that finishes up what we want to do in here. Korilla is back.
Seems like a good moment to talk.
If it isn't Raphael's latest client, savior of the city, isn't it? The boss is always right, even though he's so very wrong. When I'm not keeping my eye on potential clients like you, I make sure the House of Hope is fully secure. As a noose. Doesn't stop people from testing it, though. Devils often have prettier hordes than dragons. Sneaking thieves into their vaults is a lucrative business. Doesn't usually end well for the thieves. But sometimes the thieves are rich, smart, or well-connected enough to come back in one piece. Take our esteemed Lord Gortash, for example. She's enjoying your company, and the liquor has loosened her tongue, but she's anxious about the direction the conversation's taking.
Okay, so we have a couple of persuasion options here. Either one of them are good for us. So let's go with this one here. 15 DC, we'll add in guidance.
Yeah, a diabolist with a loose sense of duty and a hunger to be richer than Mammon. I almost wish he'd asked me. I'd have told him to stick his gauntlet where the sun don't shine and wiped that smug little grin off his face. Conversation's over. I've got to sober up and get back to work.
Okay, and that advanced the Escape the Deal quest. And we learned of a way into the House of Hope. It seems there's a diabolist somewhere in Baldur's Gate who knows how to get in. And that's an important clue that we're looking for a diabolist somewhere. And that's going to come into play here in a little bit. So now we're finished up in the Elfsong Tavern. You can talk to a bunch of people in there and learn about them if you would like. And also, I don't know if we've talked to her. We might have already talked to her. We'll go make sure. If we've talked to Estra here or not.
No, dear reader. I'm afraid one of my columns is not in the latest issue. Print issues limiting space, according to our esteemed editor.
Ah, that is changed because I'm shapeshifted, I believe.
No, dear reader. I'm afraid one of my columns is not in the latest issue. Print issues limiting space, according to our esteemed editor.
Do I have... I don't have it.
Keep your distance, Barrow. Just be quick.
No, dear reader.
Okay.
Can't give up now.
So, when you get into town, if you talk to Estra, she will warn you that she recognizes who you are, and she will let you know that she is printing a bad story about you to appear in the next day's Baldur's Mouth Gazette. Now, it's not really the next days. It doesn't start that timer until you go to the Baldur's Mouth Gazette and talk to the editor. And that's what's happened here, is that we got into town, we took a long rest, and before we took that long rest, if we'd have talked to her right when we came in, she would have explained it, and it would have given us the Stop the Presses quest. And she would have warned us that the next day something's going to happen. Even if we take a long rest, then, like we did, we'd have come back here and she'd have given us this dialogue saying, no, it hasn't gone to press yet, because there's limited space, because we haven't talked to the editor yet inside the Baldur's Mouth Gazette. So talking to her will start the quest if you haven't taken a long rest, but even if you have, it doesn't really matter. The timer hasn't started until you talk to the Baldur's Mouth editor, and we're going to go do that now. So, isn't Fly affected by strength? That's an interesting question. I'm not sure that it is. Okay, there's the line for me to get over there. I don't think I have anybody else who's taken the tadpole yet. But that probably needs to happen with Gale anyway. So let's get that done.
Go ahead. I'm listening. I can only imagine what I could do were I to adopt the biology of a mind flayer. Certainly doesn't seem to have done you any harm. Or rather, you've not yet done me any harm. Still, there are undoubtedly risks to such a transformation.
Okay, so here's the persuasion option. You can see we have a high DC, we have advantage, and a lot of bonuses here that we can throw in. Let's hope not double ones. Hey, Lord Henry, welcome.
If this is what the fates have offered to aid our cause, then who am I to refuse? I'll take your tadpole. Let's see what it has to offer.
There's an important choice here.
Life pulses from within. The parasite's thoughts whisper at the edge of your mind. It wants to share itself with you. It wants to be let in.
Go on. Don't be afraid. It only wants to help you evolve.
Okay, there's an important choice here, which I don't think I elaborated on when I took the Astral Touch tadpole with my Paladin. You have two options here to either open your mind to it or eat the tadpole. Either one of those is going to unlock the abilities. However, eating the tadpole removes the tadpole from your inventory, and you're not allowed to use it on anybody else. If you commune with it or open your mind to it, depending upon the dialogue choice you have, it puts it back in your inventory and you can use it on other people. That's the only way to get it on multiple people in your party.
A coldness seeps through your veins as the tadpole awakens, its yearning almost unbearable. Your mind is a veritable feast. The tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected. Your mind present in every flex of a joint or muscle.
Perhaps, once the others see what you can do, they will consider trying it for themselves.
Okay, so just to recap, the fly takes us about out to the corner here where that is, and that's me with a 21 strength here compared to Gale, who's got an 8. So we'll break the group and we'll move my Paladin kind of here, and we'll move Gale into his spot. No, it's not affected by strength. It's a good question though, because jump is affected by strength, but fly is straight based on movement speed. So the only thing that I think would increase that distance is if you have a higher base movement speed, due to Wood Elf or Wood Half Elf or something like that, would be my guess. I haven't tested it very much, but that was an easy test to make, and I needed to get Will on it as well anyway. You can go, this is the Baldur's Mouth Gazette here. You can enter into here, you can talk to the various people that are out here. There are little tiny dialogues, but nothing that is important to the quest. We're gonna do one thing first before we go. Gonna get another mind quake here. We're gonna split the group and we're gonna have Shadowheart cast guidance on my Paladin, and while it's running, we're going to quickly make our way up to the roof of the Baldur's Mouth Gazette. Okay, now I still have the Amulet of the Harpers, so I have advantage on perception checks. And there it is. So there's a plank up here you can discover. And that plank has a trap disarm kit, some thieves' tools, an elixir of sea invisibility, and a potion of invisibility. And these are very, very useful for how this
with haste
is normally played. And I say that because we're not going to play it the way it's normally played. Down here, you can see that there's a barricade. If you look at the outside, you can see that there's a tower here at this corner. Okay, and once we get inside, you're going to see that this is an elevator shaft that goes up and down the building. It's a way to access the interior of the Baldur's Mouth Gazette if everyone in the Baldur's Mouth Gazette is hostile and they've kicked you out. Now, why would they do that? They would do that because as soon as you talk to the editor, he's going to reveal that he is the one who wants to write the bad story about you. and he will tell you that there's nothing you can do to stop it, and he will kick you out. And then every time after that, if you try and enter through the front door again, you'll be trespassing. And everyone inside will be hostile towards you, and you'll have to fight your way in. Now, there's a way around that, and the way around that is simply do not talk to the editor. So we're going to go in here, we're going to do some sneaky stuff, okay, while we're in here, and avoid the whole getting kicked out and everybody being hostile to us thing by kind of being stealthy and not getting caught doing things and not talking to the editor at all. We have not gone after Minsk in this one yet, Andy. So there are various different people in here. There are some of the reporters, the guards that are in here. You can see the elevator shaft here. The elevator shaft is locked, and you can pick your way into it. There's a corner here that doesn't have detection cones. And there's also this area here and a lever that brings you down. There's a doorway out here, so once you have access to the roof, you can come back down this ladder, come along to the back door here, get access to here, use the lever to drop this down, and you'll have access to the entire space. Now, all of the guards, you can see the detection cones are everywhere. So the only real way through here is to go invisible to do it. And that's why they gave you the potions, or the potion of invisibility on the roof, was so that you could make your way in here this way and head down to the printing press. But we're just not going to talk to the editor, and that way we can avoid all of it. Now, the Stop the Presses quest line has not started for us yet, but it doesn't matter. We want to end it, and the way that we're going to end it is by changing the story in the printing press. Right now, the press is going to write a bad story about us, and we want to put in a new story so that when it gets printed, a different story goes out, one that helps us. And to do that, we need to find some printing dies here inside of the Baldur's Mouth that we can insert into the press to change the story. There are 9 of them spread throughout the interior of the Baldur's Mouth. There are 3 positive, there are 3 neutral, and there are 3 negative. The negative ones decrease your attitude on all of the vendors in the city. You're going to lose 15 attitude with most vendors here in the lower city. That doesn't affect Rivington or Worm's Crossing. It's just here in the lower city. But that's a needless loss that you don't need. However, it's also a loss of 15 for every one of the security guards, which means if you accidentally pick up something for stealing, people will go hostile instead of giving you a way to talk your way out of it, because that additional 5 loss puts them at minus 20, which puts them into instantly being hostile. So you can very quickly get into a situation where you're just having to murder every flaming fist in the entire lower city because they show up and they're automatically hostile to you when they do. So we don't want a negative article being published. The neutral ones you can certainly do. It doesn't have any benefits. There is one that has been speculated to help you out. I haven't actually in-depth tested it yet, but we're going to look for it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to try and get all 9 of them, even though I don't have to. I'm going to try and get all 9 of them here just to illustrate how to do it. And I think I've got some systems worked out for it, but things could go very, very wrong. So the first thing we're going to do is get Astarion shapeshifted. we need to be able to give him a bonus on his checks if things go wrong. Okay. And now we're going to move both of those back here. We're going to get me shape-shifted again.
No one's stopped me yet.
That gets me the bonuses, but also, now if I'm shape-shifted here, the attitude adjustment applies to my shape-shifted character and not necessarily to me. So I could come back here non-shape-shifted and not have to deal with any attitude adjustments. So we're going to break our party. The first thing we need to do is look and steal from this wicker basket. However, the detection cones are overlapping it, and it's the detection cone from the guard here. We want to close the door behind us so we don't have anybody moving around on the outside. We're going to take our Paladin, move him behind the guard, and take Astarion, move him right next to the wicker basket. Now we're going to talk to the guard.
You ever heard of this many guards for a bloody broadsheet? It's ridiculous.
And we're immediately going to go into turn-based mode because that turns the guard around. Now he will eventually turn back. Okay. So you want to go into turn-based mode, and now there's no detection cone on Astarion.
Don't touch me.
So we will use a bonus action to hide. And we will take the first one, Grave Robber's Spree. And now we can exit turn-based mode.
Got a long road ahead.
Okay. So that's the first one
Light on my feet.
that we're looking for. Grave Robber's Spree is a neutral article. Doesn't have any benefit for us or negatives for us.
Watch your back.
Okay, now the next one, we're going to sit here in the corner, and you see that we have a weird overlap here of a detection cone. Now, that detection cone is actually from this guard here, and it's not supposed to reach over the edge, but you can see it kind of does. Weirdly, in a couple of different locations, and I try not to take a chance with this one just in case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, since I have unlimited darkness casts here, I'm going to go into turn-based mode. I'm going to cast darkness and cast it where it does not hit anybody. You want to make sure it doesn't get cast on top of anybody. So if you need to go into top-down view to do it, do that. Then the detection cone is still there, but I've never had a problem with this, doing it this way. So I'm going to go into Cunning Action Hide. And I'm going to take Celebrate the Brave Heroes Who Slew General Ketheric. Now this one is a positive article.
The block has a broadsheet article engraved upon it. It speaks positively of you.
Okay, so now I'm going to end my turn, and Shadowheart's going to get rid of the darkness.
Shouldn't have wished to live in
I do that just to be on the safe side. I've had that weird out before on testing, so I just don't like to mess with it.
One day
Now,
I'll catch a break.
the last one I want to get is in this wicker basket here, and this one is the hardest one to get simply because of this Steel Watcher. It's not how the Steel Watcher is placed right now. It's what he does when you steal this. Okay? So, right now, there's a detection cone overlapping me. That detection cone is from this guard.
Is that blood? No, never mind.
Nope.
Hang on! I told you already. No access to the printer room. If you keep forgetting, I'll print it out and nail it to your head. Sod off!
Okay, and now she's turned. Okay, and it looks like Etvard is...
Something's on my mind.
On top of us here. So I'm actually going to exit out of this and wait for Etvard to move around the back. We'll see if she turns. If she turns, okay, so we're good. Now you can see that there's no detection cone overlapping me. So I'm going to attempt to steal this. Now the steel watcher here is going to turn around. I don't know if he senses me doing this or what. Sometimes his detection cone can overlap me when I take this. See? He turned. His detection cone did not overlap me, so I should be good here. And I'm going to take Here the Finest Shanties of the Blushing Maid. This is a neutral one. And doesn't help us one way or another.
On my way.
Now I'm going to take everybody,
You're not allowed.
Gale, everybody trying to stay in formation. Okay, now you do not have to do this. You do not have to go into Etvard's office. There are two ways to do this. First, you can pickpocket Etvard. There are a bunch of locations where you can move out of your way, move your party over here, take Astarion and put him back here, and Etvard will walk around behind the desk. Because he's shapeshifted, Gordon, that gets him the Mark of the Shifter bonus, 1d4 bonus to his checks. He's just chosen the masculine elf shapeshift. So both my Paladin and Astarion are shapeshifted to get that additional 1d4 bonus on all checks. So, but you can pickpocket Etvard. Now Etvard has two keys on him. One is a key to this office, and the other one is a key to this door down here. But if you steal from him, even if he doesn't catch you, he's going to call his guards and say that there's a thief on the loose. Now, what'll happen is whoever pickpocketed him, normally Astarion, will then get confronted by the guards, even if you were not detected. And then Astarion will have to pass a persuasion check to be able to keep from being arrested. It's not that difficult a persuasion check, especially when you have guidance available to you and Mark of the Shifter. But still, you don't have to steal from him to get into this room, especially if you have Astarion. So what we're going to do is enter turn-based mode here.
I'm ready.
We're going to go with Shadowheart, and here I highly recommend going into top-down view. Because we have endless darkness, I need to be overlapping the door, so it needs to be red, and not touching Etvard or any of the other guards. Okay, so now that it's placed, I know it's covering the door. I'm going to lockpick the door with Astarion. I can add a bonus here, but I don't want to be adding guidance from Shadowheart or something that's going to override her concentration on the darkness spell. So I have it with Gale here as well. So now I have a higher chance to pass a DC 20 lockpick. Oof. Trying to make things go bad. Now I can unlock the door with Astarion. I can walk in, close the door behind me. I can exit turn-based mode and have Shadowheart get rid of darkness.
At least things have stayed interesting.
Yeah, now that I'm in here, there's a key. Okay. And I can do some looting in here without needing to worry about getting caught. Down here's a gilded chest. Normally has a really good scroll in it. Oh, and I got a black diamond as well. That's nice. Rolled well on that loot table. And here on the desk is a letter. G is Gortash. So it's a letter from Gortash. And it says that he is sending along information for an urgent publication about some adventurers who've been allowed into the city. Attend to it. So Gortash has told Etvard to publish this nasty story about us. And even though we're allied with Gortash, we're not going to let this happen.
Quietly.
Oof. In here is the ink-spattered key. And this is the key that you need to get into the basement. Okay? So now before you come out this door, we need to do the same thing again.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
No.
Shall we?
Okay.
All's well that ends.
Whoops.
As it could have.
And now we're good. So now what we want to do is make our way into the basement. Now the basement here is obviously trespassing, and trying to move past guard Onilda Tiro here, you've seen has been problematic, to say the least. So we're going to kind of pre-position everybody, so to speak.
I told you already. No.
Trust no one. Let's be quick.
Lovely day, this.
To get them as close as we can get them
Let's get on with it.
to the
Let's
entrance.
try this way.
And now again here, I would highly recommend doing this in top-down view. So we're going to enter, we're going to wait for Etvard to turn around first. We don't care much about the detection cones, but I'd prefer him not to be looking at me. It's just one less thing to possibly go wrong. We're going to enter into turn-based mode. Shadowheart, because of her unlimited guidance, is going to cast darkness again. Now, again, be very careful about your placement here of it. You don't want it to land on top of the guard. Things will go badly if that happens.
No.
Okay. So now I'm going to take my Paladin and head down to the door.
Oh, cursed to put my hands on everything.
He's now downstairs. I'll switch to Astarion. And now the door's unlocked, so all you have to do is click on it. Okay, Gale.
Well.
And now, Shadowheart is the last one. And
Let's see what we have here.
she has just enough movement to reach it. Okay, and now I'm going to get rid of her darkness.
Let's
Okay?
move.
And that's how to infiltrate the basement without going through any of the stupid talk to Etvard and get locked out and trying to walk everybody through here, because we want to deal with the basement here in a very specific way, and it's very, very difficult to do it with only one person. Normally you would come in from the roof and you would give one person that invisibility potion to get down here in the basement, and then you would sneak your way through the basement. We are not going to do that, because whatever happens in the basement stays in the basement.
My faith protects me.
So whatever happens down here is not going to affect our attitude outside, and we're going to take advantage of that. And that's because right now we need 7,300 XP to get to level 12. We can get another huge chunk of that down here. And instead of avoiding the fights, we're going to welcome the fights down here. Okay? So,
Let's have a look.
couple of things to look at. A pouch and a news hawker float we can read about. So, at the end of the day, you get a collection of the sales down here. And I don't think there's any money on this yet. Yeah, there's not. But there could be money in here, depending upon how many times you've long rested. Here's the current issue of the Baldur's Mouth. Steel Watchers, they've been getting some serious good publicity because Gortash has been telling them to write good publicity. So this is an example of Etvard being in league with Gortash. There are some blank canvases here. What the ever-loving F? Okay. Larian, please. Seeing through walls and doors is not supposed to be a thing. We were gonna have this fight. I wanted to have this fight on my terms, though. I did not want to have it this way. But now we're just going to have to deal with it. Okay, so from one aspect, this is good, in that this Steel Watcher's blocking this door.
Ready.
Okay. We want to get off the darkness here, and we want to kind of keep Shadowheart out of the way of this, because we don't want her to lose concentration on this, if we can help it.
On my way.
He might walk farther into this room and all that sort of stuff, but we're going to try and avoid that, because I was not prepared. Oh, I did have the Eversight ring on. Okay, good. I don't know if I'm prepared with my Paladin or not. We'll see here in a second, because I'm going to move Astarion in here.
Can't afford to let up.
And I'm going to move Gale in here, but first I'm going to move my Paladin up to this corner.
What fools these
I want to try and keep him from moving.
with haste.
Because I'd like for him to block up that door, so that the other one can't do anything to me. And we can fight this one at a time.
Survival is all that matters.
So, for my Paladin here, and I also need to be careful with the hit points I do in this first turn. Because I don't want them to get into a situation where I'm not able to get them moving away from the blast radius. So I guess let's start this with Astarion first. Okay, I like the crit. Oh, Astarion, you just go. You just go, boy. Astarion, in his one turn, managed to take off half of his hit points. So, yeah, I'll take that. I don't think I can throw them off balance, but I'll try. Now, I'm going to move Astarion back out of the way here to get him out of the blast radius. Just in case I do end up bringing him down to that point.
Nothing will stand in my way.
Okay, so here, if I do this, I'm going to be using an action, and I don't want to do that. I have an 80% chance with Great Weapon Master all in here. I think that's a good enough hit chance. Necrotic, he's not immune to, so we're going to reapply Hex with my bonus action, because I'm not going to be able to kill him and get Great Weapon Master to trigger. So now let's try and throw some damage here. I've got 3 attacks here. How many level 1 spells? I've got 3 left. Sure. Let's...
A rough tempest I will raise.
I think I'm gonna kill him. Let's move Gale back out of here, actually. Because I think I'm going to be able to kill him. This should not kill him.
Still breathing, despite everything.
So this could get ugly. Because he has still not gone into his death mode. Well, this could get
Very well.
Interesting if I can't, because now I'm gonna have to be making ranged attacks, which are fine. He still never went into it. Alright, I need to kill him here. And hope Gale's far enough back. Okay, good, there we go. So his demolition is impending. I am not in the blast radius, but this Steel Watcher certainly is, and this one's going to blow up first. Now what's going to happen is as soon as he blows up, this Steel Watcher is going to come running in here, and we'll see if he's still blinded. He should still be blinded when he makes his attack. So hopefully we'll get out of it without a lot of damage, but we might take a hit here.
What should I do?
Okay, so we did take one. He missed me. He missed Shadowheart. He rolled a 15 to hit Astarion. He had disadvantage, and he rolled a 15. So that means he rolled a 15 and something higher than a 15 to be able to hit me. So yeah, that's a thing. So now I need to make sure that I am moving people away from him again. Because I don't want to get caught in the blast radius, so I want to be moving people as I go.
Nothing important is ever easy.
Okay, I'm gonna wait. Astarion, I'm gonna have him, because he was knocked prone, so half of his movement's gone, so I'm just gonna cunning action dash with him to get around behind him.
Time to move.
Still got advantage on these attacks. I should get sneak attack damage on this. I'm doing additional force damage because of my gloves. Okay, and now I'm going to move Astarion back out of here.
I won't give in.
Okay, let's get Shadowheart
Stay focused.
out of here. She has a lot of movement, which is good. This should get her out of
Onward.
attack range, or blast range. What's his resistances? Okay, nothing. He's vulnerable to lightning damage. Actually, let's upcast this. Why not? We've got a level 4 spell slot. Okay. We'll throw out a spiritual weapon here, so maybe he won't move.
Still on my feet.
Okay, and now my Paladin.
One day I'll catch a break.
We're going to reapply X. And see what damage we can do here. Okay, I'm not going to Divine Smite this. Well, at level 1, that could do 2 to 16. So I did 14 radiant damage. Yeah, it's 2d8. So I can add this in. And now let's move him, hold shift, and move him back out of the way here. And use our last attack to hopefully kill him. Okay. That's going to be a problem. Maybe. Maybe that's going to be a problem. I can't tell if this is going to be a problem or not. We're right on the edge of this thing. We'll see what happens. Okay, it didn't hit me. Alright, so the reason we wanted to do that is right there. That's an additional 1,020 XP. toward our level up. Now, we're going to get level 12 without a problem. That's not like we're going to have an issue with it. However, what doing these fights allows us to do is get level 12 earlier, so we are able to have our full potentials available to us when we go into the, what I call mini boss fights. The fights that are not central to the storyline but deal with very difficult enemies where you can gain really, really good gear to lead you into other fights like that, where you can gain even more gear ups. So getting level 12 allows us to tackle those earlier instead of having to wait for them. So I'm taking advantage of free XP here, basically, by killing 2 Steel Watchers in a very controlled way, and also in a way that doesn't affect anything going on around me. Alright? So, now we have access to this basement here. And we picked up 3 of the printing press slates. We now need to pick up 6 more. We don't have to pick these up. Again, I'm just going to show you where they are. Now here you can see, this is the elevator.
Have to keep going.
Okay, the elevator is down here at the bottom. There's a lever, so if you're standing in here when you trigger the lever, it takes you up to level 1. Okay? If you hit the lever again, it takes you up to the roof where that barricade is, and then you can drop down into this and have access to drop you back down to the basement. Okay, so this is another way in here. It's not a very practical one, but what it allows you to do is to get out this way. Okay? And that's what's important here, because again, we are in a red area. We cannot fast travel from this area. So this is our way out, not our way in. So now in here, let's go looking around. Okay, so we have some stuff that we can loot. There's a bunch of books in here. Most of them are inconsequential. Some newspapers, some past editions that we can look at. The eyewitness account, I believe we've already seen. This is the eyewitness account of Elturel's descent into Avernus. An interesting piece of lore that they've added in from the Forgotten Realms. And we're going to take all of this stuff around here, especially since we have an elixir of hill giant strength. We can carry the world. And we have this first room to enter into here.
I'm ready.
I have a lot on my mind and, well, in it.
Okay, so some more stuff that we can loot down here. Gilded chest, we'll come back and have Astarion unlock that.
Oh, don't mind if I do. I need to find a way forward.
Whoops. There's another Baldur's Mouth Gazette we can pick up there.
Keep your distance, darling. Delicious. Watch your back. Oh, for a skeleton key.
Okay, we got a bunch of sales here and the collection records. So if you open up all these pouches, there's going to be the sales that have been collected from the various districts.
What to do? Very well.
So here another one talking about finding a new hit piece to work on from Needle, who is the editor upstairs. They've turned this into a gossip rag, basically.
That might be worth a look.
Here's the printing press that we're going to interact with here in a second, but before we do, we're going to explore the other rooms here.
Seems simple enough.
Embrace Modernity will let you know about the new printing presses. This is an Enchanto automated printing press. It was made by the Gondians. And you're going to learn more about that here in a second. And here on the desk is another printing press die. This is the cutest cat you've ever seen. This one is another neutral story.
Looks empty.
In this wicker basket, we have make big money by trading with adventurers, and this is the one that you want. This is a positive article, so you want to use it, but there has been speculation that this is going to make other random traders appear around the lower city if this thing gets published. So this is the one that we want to use. And I'm just storing them all on Astarian for now. And then here you have the dark room. Now there's something special about the dark room here, and that there's a curtain on this. It's not covering the door right now. However, it is still fully closed at the top, and steel watchers are tall. If you are sneaking your way in here, if you come in here and you're sneaking your way into this room or into the printing press and bypassing the two steel watchers, this room is key for you to do that. You can follow behind this one as it walks here, open the door and make your way into this room, and you do not have to close the door behind you. The curtain will keep the detection cone from moving into the room. That allows you more time as it walks past for you to exit the room and enter into the printing press room. So keep that in mind if you are playing this the way that they intend you to play it. That you don't have to close that window or close that door. Then you're just wasting time getting out of the room.
Always room for more?
Okay, And you're about to find out why you got that fancy enchanted automated press. And this is the portrait poster that you've seen posted up all over the lower city. The new printing press was used to print that, and it's sitting everywhere. Where are you going? And we're going to use all of these heroic posters to our advantage. And sell them all.
Anything of use?
Here on the table is a public danger. This is another story that can be printed, and this is a negative one. Potentially reputation shattering if put to print. Okay, so this is definitely one that you do not want to use. Okay, so we're going to finish searching inside this room here. And I have a feeling that I've missed one. I will pull up my notes here in a second. Because Astarion, I believe, should have 6 by now. Oh, he does have 6 by now. Okay.
Still breathing.
So I think
everything.
That's right. I think the last 3 are in here.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
Okay, so here's a manual from the Gondians about the auto printer. Actually, yeah, you can read that to learn more about it. We don't need to. Another letter here. Who keeps messing with the printer and adding mistakes to our editions? It's not funny. Knock it off. Edvard doesn't have a sense of humor. Here on the table is wolves in sheep's clothing. This is another negative article. That is 7 of 9 that we have found. Being careful not to interact with the printer yet.
Something good here, I hope.
Okay, and then here in the wicker basket, you're going to find adventurers, our best hope for the city. This is the last good, positive article that you can utilize. And that's 8 of 9. So here, termination notice sent to somebody. They opened up some libel or accused them of being libelous, probably towards Gortash. So they fired a reporter, probably for speaking the truth. I don't know if I've read this. Ah, yes. This is the article that never went to print, talking about how Gortash is bad news for the city. It never printed, and she was fired because of it. And Edvard's note to himself, basically keep things going for Gortash. Okay, so...
I bet that'll fit in my pack.
That's... There it is, there's the last one. Curse breakers or curse makers? So I did find them all. First try. I'm proud of myself, chat. So that is all 9 of the articles that are available to you. 3 positives, 3 negatives, and 3 neutrals. We are going to utilize make big money by trading with adventurers. So I'm going to send that back to my Paladin. The others we can just sell off.
Never a dull moment. How much farther can I go?
And now we're going to interact with the printing press.
You approach the printer, noting its ink splots and intricate cogs. Before you can get closer, however, it begins to speak.
Oi! Gauntlet! Over here! Thought I recognized you. Dolly was right. You aren't much of a looker.
Well, we recognize Dolly, right? She was the pixie that we freed from the Moon Lantern in Act 2, and the one that was able to give us the buff to walk around in Act 2. So this lets you know that there's also a pixie that is trapped here inside of the printing press here.
We both love cheeky words. She does all the shouting, I do the writing. This is my paintbrush. I make sure everything that's in those big, ugly article blocks becomes fine printed artistry. I'm a master pensman, I am. Dolly can't stop talking about you. Hero this, hero that, hero here, hero there. Hello, hero. You know, there's some absolute filth about you in tomorrow's edition. Seeing as you were kind enough to free Dolly, how's about I do you a favor? Why don't we change the headline? We can load up something a bit less damaging for your reputation.
Okay, now this conversation only happens if you free Dolly from the Moon Lantern. If not, you have to pass a persuasion check to get Jellywig here to swap out the headlines. But here, we're going to get it for free.
Well, first, I've got to release the old nasty top story. Oop, there. Now, you've got to find a new article to replace it. How delightful.
Okay, so here's our item insertion. Going to make sure we get the right one. Make big money by trading with adventurers. And we'll insert that.
Paper's printing right now, pal. Should be on the streets tomorrow.
Okay. So we are now all good. The article's going to come out tomorrow. And we are going to have, hopefully, a positive repercussion because of that. So now we need to make our way out of here. We did gain 170 experience for that. To finish that. So let's make our way out of here. And to do that, we're going to go up the elevator. And I will be the first to admit that this is a little buggy sometimes. The detection cones here are very weird, as we've already seen.
What now?
And
what to do?
The detection cones, when we
I
come
applaud
up to
your
the
taste.
first floor, are even weirder
What's
sometimes.
next, I wonder?
Let's move.
I'm going to put everybody into hiding.
Let's see what you're hiding.
Okay, and Gale is closest to
No fun at all.
the lever. So we're going to trigger the lever here. Okay. So yeah, you can see the detection cones were a little weird. See? So we're getting seen through this window by Belial here. And that's what knocked them out, or by the guard here, I guess, which knocked them out. Now this is where, if you are making your escape out of here, hopefully you have not dropped any attitude outside here, because you can very quickly have your attitude dropped again completely outside of what you want to happen, and people out here can go hostile, and then you're kind of stuck in this elevator here trying to get out. So once you're out here though, you don't have to go anywhere else if you're not in combat. You can just fast travel out. Okay, so easy as that. So that went really, really well, with the exception of the I'm a steel watcher and I can see you through the door no matter what you do combat that we got into. So we finished Baldur's Mouth here. So what we're going to do is head down to these two buildings here. Here's the Elfsong, where we were. Baldur's Mouth, where we just was, or where we just were. And I'm actually going to go this way. And here, this leads us back to the graveyard that we've already completed. Now this house here is a private dwelling. There's nothing in there that I'm aware of. If you go in there, the people are just going to go, "What are you doing in my house?" But they're not going to be angry with you or anything like that. But I'm not going to go in there right now. I'm going to make my way around the back. There's an anti-hag support group here. Have you been hexed by a hag, lost a loved one to a deal? You're not alone. Join the other survivors at Baron's Coop. And that's going to have the Help the Hag Survivors quest pop up. Okay, so Baron's Coop is now going to give us a place to deal with some hag survivors, and maybe we might have an encounter with somebody from Act 1. We freed Mayrina, we we resurrected Connor, so maybe we're going to meet up with them again. And now we get to here. And this area here would be where you would find Dammon for the third and final time. He would have made his way here. He would have a fully functional smithy. And this is the Forge of the Nine. Okay. However, we don't have Dammon here because of the unfortunate incidents that happened in Act 2. So, because of that, we weren't given a choice. Dammon died at the Last Light Inn, but this is where he would be. Now, Dammon would sell a final set of gear here, and I'm going to go pull those up real quick. So here you're going to be able to loot several things. We're going to still go loot them, but Dammon would sell 4 items. The first is a set of gloves called the Legacy of the Masters. Legacy of the Masters are medium armor, and it gives you +2 to attack rolls and +2 to damage rolls. So very, very useful, especially for Great Weapon Master. It's an additional damage writer that gets tacked on top, and a +2 to attack rolls helps you offset that -5 to hit. So now instead of a -25% chance to hit, you're at a -15% chance to hit. You throw in Bless or Advantage, and you can just completely negate that. So Legacy of the Masters is a very good set of gloves. The second thing are the Boots of Persistence. These are really, really nice. The boots grant you permanent freedom of movement and long strider. Now for us, long strider permanently doesn't matter because we wake up every day and we cast it on everybody in the party. And actually, why don't I have long strider cast? That's hilarious that I mentioned that we don't need it, and here I am walking around without it.
My magic.
Why don't I have...
No one back home will ever believe this.
Do I not have anybody that has long strider? Maybe that's why I don't have it.
Ah, excellent choice.
That's very interesting. I don't know why I made that choice.
What am I to do?
My level ups. I will fix that off stream because long strider is just way too valuable. But yes, it gives you freedom of movement and long strider. Freedom of movement is what's important because freedom of movement stops you from being stunned, it stops you from being paralyzed, and it stops you from being restrained. Paralyzation and stunning are devastating to you, especially on honor mode, where you just can get one shot and get party wiped because of it. Especially in an encounter that we're going to find later on, where some of the allies of the person we're dealing with can stun you with a melee hit. Having these boots on somebody can be very, very useful. It also doesn't count, difficult terrain does not slow you down at all. So they're a really nice pair of medium armor boots to have. You also gain dexterity saving throws +1. The next thing is the Armor of Persistence. Goes along with the Boots of Persistence set. This is a 20 armor class heavy armor. That's nice because it's one more than Ketheric's Reaper's Embrace here. Reaper's Embrace has all damage is reduced by 2. Armor of Persistence has that same thing. All damage is reduced by 2. This has Reaper's Rigidity, which means you can't be moved by any spell or action, but have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws, and it gives you the Howl of the Dead cantrip. The Armor of Persistence gives you permanent resistance. Resistance is a +1d4 to all saving throws, permanently, and Blade Ward, permanently, which means that you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So it's a very nice piece of armor to have. It would be straight upgrades to everything that I am using right now in my Paladin if I had it available. I just obviously don't. The last thing is the Unwanted Masterwork Scale Mail. And this is a rare medium armor. There's unlimited dexterity bonus to your armor class.
What now?
So just like the WotC scale mail, it's unlimited dexterity modifiers to your armor class. It also gives you resistance to fire damage. So trading out with WotC, you're trading +1 to initiative rolls for resistance to fire damage. Now where that can be useful is because if you don't have a racial resistance to fire damage, you can now use this as part of a heat build so that you're taking fire damage every turn, but you're only taking half damage from it. So it can be very, very useful as well for you. The reason you want to pick up everything along the path here is that the price of the Armor of Persistence is 6,400 gold pieces. And the price of the Boots of Persistence is 1,300 gold pieces. So even with your discounts, by the time you get here, those prices are incredibly steep. And you're going to need a lot of gold to be able to pay for it all if you want to pick it up. Alright, so keep that in mind, that there are reasons that you go around and pick up every light hammer that is not marked as steel, is because you're going to run into vendors here in the lower city and again in the upper city where you want to buy some really good stuff and it's just way too expensive. And if you don't have the gold, you're going to spend forever walking around picking things up like I am trying to find it. So it's better if you've just done it along the way just by clicking take all as soon as you open something and getting it. So the mailbox here has the basement key in it. This is important for a little bit later. So the double doors here are locked because Dammon is not here. So we're going to make our way around the side. And here is a door to the basement. Okay, and this leads you into the basement area of the Forge of the Nine. Now, down here, you can loot a lot of stuff, and there's some +2 weapons down here, some +1 weapons, some bronze ingots, and all that sort of stuff. It's a good place to come looting, and there's no repercussions for taking any of this stuff. Even if Dammon's alive, he doesn't seem to care. So if it isn't nailed down, go pick it up. In the gilded chest here, you can have the last 2 items of the unwanted set. So we learned about the unwanted Masterwork Scale Mail. Now we have the Gauntlets, which gives you a +1 to your attack rolls and a +1 to your saving throws. And then the Greaves, which gives you athletics +1. Not all that great, but you can sell all of these items for a decent amount of gold as well. Okay, armor, the rare types are always really good to be able to sell. So even if you don't want to use them, there's some good money to be had in selling them. None of these crates are going to have anything in them. There's a reason for that. And then here's always some good crafting supplies. Okay, so now the basement here is empty with the exception of one thing. you look really close, there's a wall here. Okay, and now we can make our way into this basement. Now, this basement is actually in the adjacent building. It's in the basement of Devil's Fee is the name of the building, I believe, which we're going to be going to visit next. Oh, wow, I finally became encumbered. It's awesome. Okay, so we will have
whatever it takes.
Shadowheart come in here
I'll go this way.
and do the searching instead. No, actually we'll have Gale do
Ready
it,
and willing.
because we need to do something with Gale, and we need to shapeshift Gale. There it is. So where's the human? Here. And we're going to have Shadowheart, who's already in here,
That
cast guidance on Gale.
Oh, I have the magic touch.
The reason for that is Gale has a +8 to his Arcana checks. I can drop in a ring to give him +9. And I want to check. Thought I remembered something that gave me advantage on Arcana checks. I could be wrong. I didn't put this in my notes, but it just triggered into my head. I thought I had seen something that did that. But I just want to check real quick. I could be very wrong. Advantage on insight checks. Okay, so maybe that's what I was thinking of instead. Is the Ring of Truthfulness. Yeah, I think that's what it was. So we'll renew guidance on him.
Yeah, it's ripe with magic.
And Gale's going to go over here to the table. And on the table's a monster's horn.
Horns of a war devil. How does one even acquire such an item?
And you see there was an Arcana check in the background there. It's a DC 15. So I had +9 from my proficiency and my intelligence modifier, and the Arcana modifier from the ring. I rolled a +3 from guidance and a +2 from Mark of the Shifter. So all of those applied, plus a 13 roll got me a 27. So I'm adding 11 to 17 onto that check every time I do it, if I have Mark of the Shifter and guidance. And it's a DC 15, so that means I only have about a 20% chance of failing it. Still very possible that I fail it. But we're going to have more of those checks to do.
At least things have stayed interesting.
Upstairs. So you want to make sure that you have Gale and or Will. Will actually has a better out of the box Arcana check because of his proficiency, I believe, that goes along with it. And you can't pick up the monster's horn. It's just an introduction to how you're going to be doing things down here. Now the big pot here.
Can't afford to stay idle.
Careful, I bite. Easy.
It's a DC 20. Yep. Yep. I heard it. I heard it coming. We have 8 thieves' tools, so we'll go ahead and try it again. Oh, then we roll a 19. That's going to be a nice sized roll. 35. In here you get Infernal Marble. This is one of 2 of these that you can pick up. You can see it's got an orange border. It's a quest item. You're going to need it for something. I'm going to send it to Shadowheart to keep. We will get into what it's for a little bit later.
Can't slow down.
I wonder what the next move is.
Okay, we have an opulent chest here that we will have Astarian go to work on again. More crafting ingredients and some normally really good ones down here as well. And then another portrait you can pick up. Okay.
Still alive.
So now you can go up the wooden stairs here if you would like. The lever is going to unlock it for you, but we don't have to. We're going to go in the front door.
Another step forward.
Upstairs.
Let's see what this does.
And that is right next door at the Devil's Fee here. We're first going to just go open up some stuff around the side. We do have some
more for me.
Let's go get rid of all of our camp supplies. Okay. Alright. So we're going to head in here and we're going to head around. Now the back side here of this area, and I actually don't know if I've tried to get in. I haven't. Okay, so we're just going to go in the front. The mailbox out front.
Bloody believe it. No more puzzles. A travesty.
And the plaque on the front says...
The Devil's Fee.
that this is the Devil's Fee. Okay, now in here, you have Helsik. They have fiendish resistance when you examine them. They're a gold dwarf. Fiendish resistance, you have resistance to radiant damage. Okay, interesting. So you start looking, they're a warlock. They have dark vision, devil sight, eldritch spear, which increases the range of your eldritch blast and repelling blast, as well as infectious greed. Tempted by the riches that Mammon offers to those most faithful to him, all allies in the presence of this creature are affected by infectious greed. Infectious greed is hungry for Mammon's favor. The affected entity's attack deal an additional 6d6 piercing damage in the presence of Helsik. In addition, it has advantage on attack rolls against targets marked by Promise of Wealth. Promise of Wealth is a condition that is able to be inflicted by Helsik on your party. So if she summons allies, then all of those allies are going to get infectious greed and be doing an additional 6d6 piercing damage on their attacks. And they have advantage on those attack rolls against any target that she has marked with that condition. This can be a very dangerous encounter here, and you want to avoid having a fight here for the most part. Now, Helsik has some notable items that she can sell. There's also a unique interaction that happens if you are the Dark Urge. And we're going to look through their inventory, but not until we do some other stuff outside of here first. And that's because if you perceive what some of the items are that are around her shop and you identify them, she will actually add new things to her inventory, and she will comment that you are perceptive when you do it. And for those, you're going to need to pass Arcana checks. So again, we want to have guidance cast on Will.
One with the weave.
And the first one is the monster's skull here.
This head's had quite a journey. A devil of the fugue plane, I believe.
Okay, so we passed that one.
No ordinary curio. Such an item would only be found in the collection of a true diabolist.
Okay, you said that this item would only be found in the collection of a diabolist. Remember, we learned a little bit ago that there's a diabolist here that can help us access the House of Hope. But next is the monster skull.
Real fiend's skull, judging by the size. A gargatula? Forthwith.
And then up here again is another monster horn, but since we've succeeded on the one in the basement, we don't have to do this one to check it. Okay? Everything else up here is going to be marked as steel, and like I say, you don't want to get into a fight here with her if you can avoid it.
What's next?
She summons, I believe they're imps and minotaurs, but I think they have a special, what are they? Gilded versions, that's what they are. Gilded versions of them. The imps have a special attack that can paralyze you, they have a petrifying sting that they can use against you, which is really nasty. And the Minotaurs just have a boatload of hit points. They have like 200 hit points apiece. And they hit really, really hard. So the imps and the Minotaurs are not immune to darkness, so you can fight in darkness to possibly help offset the advantage on their attacks, but she can. She has dark vision, or devil sight, so she can see in darkness, and that's not going to help you against her. So with Gale...
You have my attention.
I don't know if this one is one or not.
A portrait of a noble devil. Charming, sophisticated.
There's another monster's
deadly.
horn here you can interact with, but again, you don't have to since we've done the one in the basement. But that's the third one that you need to find. Once you identify all three of them,
This artwork is more foul than fine.
there's
Fills
also
you with
one
an
more
uncanny
perception
sense
check
of
here, I
dread.
believe. Yes.
Something over there. Infernal gems, straight from Anauros. Rare, to say the least.
And there is the final one with your Arcana check. You don't want to unlock that. You just want to click on it to interact with it. And now when we talk to her, we should get access to her full inventory of items.
I welcome thee to the Devil's Fee, where every hellish curio's a rarity. So merry be and shop with glee.
Raphael's warlock Korilla mentioned a diabolist who aided Gortash. This cheerful woman doesn't seem the likeliest candidate.
So here is your dialogue option you get if you have passed the Arcana checks to open up her additional trading options. And this is her trade, show me your wares, dialogue option. We're going to start with the first one.
You must be awfully familiar with our esteemed Archduke to know about a thing like that. Truly. That's remarkable. I like to deal with remarkable people. Very well. You seek answers. Lord Mammon seeks coin. I will happily mediate. Make me an offer.
Okay, so we have some options here. I'm actually going to leave first. Is she going to stay in there? Yes, she is. Okay, good. Because I want to test something that I haven't tested before. And to do that, I don't know if I've looted. I have looted that. What do you know? I'm going to split off a water here because I'm going to need it.
With haste.
Going to go upstairs. I'm going to have Shadowheart cast Guidance.
Is that blood? No, never mind.
And I'm not going to go too far up here.
Trap.
Okay, because there's a trap. Now, how to get rid of this trap? Here on the wall is a thirsty ward. Okay, I'm going to hide here just in case and click on the thirsty ward, and it wants you to combine items.
Throat. Hard to swallow. Hard to breathe.
Okay, it said it was thirsty, so let's give it some water. That is what gets rid of the ward. If you accidentally run into that thing, the ward on the wall will make fun of you for running into it.
Now, nice and easy.
I've never had her come back, have her come up here, but you never know. Now, before I go anywhere, I'm going to split Gale off.
Elminster's not around, so it might as well.
So I need to unlock that door first.
A crooked touch.
And these doors shouldn't be nearly as high powered. Now I'm going to split Gale off. Okay, and actually it wasn't this one I needed to be out of. But while I'm here... Okay, so I'm not able to fly down into that area. Was curious if I could. Let's get Astarion to unlock this door for us.
With pleasure.
Our first nat 20. What do you know?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so now we're gonna have Gale fly up here. And look who's on the rooftop. Okay. Now, something special with your interactions with Tara from here on out. You aren't going to be able to barter with her in the normal way unless you have something. I'm going to take some fish. From my camp chest. And now I'm gonna go talk to Tara.
At once.
With Gale.
Tressum looks at you expectantly, a shiny ring at its feet.
Okay, so trading with her to start, you can see that in our inventories, we don't have any gold listed in our inventory. Tara isn't interested in gold. She's interested in fish. Okay, so I'm going to give her fish. Now, I don't probably have enough fish in my inventory to make up 105 gold worth for the Hat of the Sharp Caster. However, once I have something here in the barter menu, then my balanced offer works. I don't know if this is intended or not to do it that way, because you're not supposed to be able to, there's no gold that you can double click on or click and drag gold into here. I don't know if it's intended to work that way or not, but it does work. So the trader will be pleased with this offer, so we're going to barter it. And that gets us the Hat of the Sharp Caster. When you roll a 1 or 2 on a damage die for a spell attack, that die is re-rolled once. So this is Savage Attacker for spell attacks, which can be very, very nice. Or no, not Savage Attacker. This is Great Weapon Fighting, right? Isn't that what the feat is? Where on melee attacks, if you roll a 1 or 2, you re-roll the die. This is the same thing for spellcasters. So especially for your your Eldritch Blast builds and that sort of stuff, where you're throwing out multiple beams and one of them gets a critical miss. This will re-roll that and possibly avoid a critical miss. Okay, now that ring at her feet, I need to think about that, because normally I haven't taken a long rest before I got here, because I haven't seen that before. Okay. Let me talk to her again.
Tressim is at its ease, a glint of satisfaction in her sparkling eye.
Okay. She's going to, after our next nice big stretch, after our next long rest, she's going to appear on a different rooftop, and we can do this again. Now, the other thing about her barter menu is that the only thing that was showing you that she allowed you to barter was either fish or any of the magical items in your inventory. So you can give her magical items, and she will barter that way as well. But if you have a magical item that's cheap, you could put it in her inventory and click balance offer again. However, why give up a magic item when you can just give her a fish and do the same thing? Like I say, not sure if it's intended. I think the intended way to do it is either give her a bunch of fish so that the values work out, or give her magic items so that you can trade for one of the magic items that she has. Now, after our next long rest, she's going to be on the roof of somebody's home, and she's going to be selling a different item in her barter menu, and those are very funny, but also really underutilized for certain builds that are really quite funny. So after our next long rest, we will definitely come and take a look at her on a different rooftop, but we're not going to get to that for a little bit. So we'll take Gale and we will fly him back inside. And fly is just so useful. Out here, you can steal some stuff. There is a detection cone, so you have to be careful that you're not in it like that because of this stupid ring around the Rosie's table. Let's move him manually because I don't trust this table. I don't trust this table.
Grief is hard. Let flowers say what words never can.
Okay. Yeah, the tables in this game, and again, I put this in the whole category of how disgusted I am with the pathing. The one thing in this game that I've always had a problem with, and if you've watched my live streams, you've seen it before, is the pathing that's in this game. Larian, please. And that's one more example of it, where they have to play Ring Around the Rosie to get stuff on a table because of whether or not it's quote-unquote in reach or not. So up here, you don't have to worry about being seen. So again, you can feel free to loot anything that's up here. And we'll actually be doing this with Astarian. There's a gold key in the desk.
Moving.
Trying to remember, it's been a while since I've done it. Oh, think it's the gilded chest.
Something over there.
Yes. So in the gilded chest by her bed, you have a coin of Mammon. Now this is marked as a quest item here, and I haven't experimented with this very much, but I want to have it in my inventory. And you have the Mask of Soul Perception. This thing is really, really good. A +2 bonus to attack rolls, initiative rolls, and perception checks. So this can be another huge bonus to your 2-hit and your initiative. This is also a piece of clothing, so this can work out very well for your monk builds to be able to make sure that you're able to hit reliably with your bonus actions or your open hand attacks or things like that. And having the +2 to perception checks definitely is useful just when you're walking around, not even doing anything. Just to have the +2 bonus to them is nice. If you know you're going to get somewhere where there's a perception check, you can keep it in your inventory, put it on before you get to that location, and now you have a passive bonus that's a +2. And that's really nice. That's a 10% bonus on your perception checks. And just like I mentioned a second ago, perception checks. Astarion succeeded on one. This was only DC 10. So with Mark of the Shifter and his Wisdom modifier, he didn't need it anyway to pass it. But if it was higher, then you could definitely put that helm that you just acquired on to help boost your chances of finding these loose planks. And here there's a note from Director Gortash. Excellent work, Helsik. I'm beginning to see why they call you Mammon's Picklock. Okay. So, interesting. We can steal the painting. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can take in here, which we are going to, but we'll play Ring Around the Rosie around the table some more. Nothing. Okay, and then back in this room, we'll kind of systematically work our way around it. I think I forgot a row of books here. Nope, I didn't. Okay, some nice spells here. Light's always good to have on a scroll.
Should be easy.
These are going to be a little sporty. Oh boy, 2 nat 20s in the same spot. This isn't good. And here you find another infernal marble. You don't necessarily have to have both, but there's also going to be some crafting supplies in here. Yeah, Bagakak, that's a good point. Gale was shapeshifted. That's why she wasn't talking to Gale. Good point. Thank you. This is why I love my community. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, you actually don't want to be shapeshifted when you talk to her so that she recognizes you as Gale. Now, we've already done what we had there. I don't know if we're going to get any more dialogue when we break this and talk to her again. But yeah, that's why the dialogues were so weird.
That's quite all right. I don't need anything else from you.
Okay, alright. So, yeah, all that would really happen, the magic ring, that's not mentioned when you talk to her with Gale. That's why I was confused about it. I hadn't seen it before. But when you talk to her with Gale and she recognizes you as Gale, there's a shorter conversation there. I think she's twirling a magic ring, looking at you expectantly, is basically letting you know that she wants magic items to be able to trade. If you have talked to her previously with Gale, you know that she likes fish. She actually likes beholder jerky first, but that's a little hard to come by. So she'll also take fish. But if you don't have Gale with you and you haven't talked to her, then that's the interaction that you get. So thanks for reminding me about that. Bagakak, it doesn't matter. It doesn't impact us in any specific way. So now that we're done with that, I don't have to keep Gale shapeshifted anyway. And here we have Helsic's diary. Hey, is there any sound sweeter than the jingle jangle of coins? Of course not. So what I need is not just revenue, but multiple sources of it, if nothing else, to beat Korilla. Perhaps it's time to diversify the business. Sell access is what she wants to sell. And this is all leading into the whole, how do we get into the Hells thing? Well, she's selling access to it. We just have to find out what that is and how that access works. Boy, Astarian's moving super speed here. Okay, now we slowed back down. So that finishes off almost all of the items up here. Now there is one more, the wooden casket here. This has a skull in it. I'm going to leave this here for now because we're going to need it later on. And I'm actually going to put back one infernal marble in there as well, just for safekeeping, so to speak. And watch me forget that it's there. And now where's Astarian? I'm going to take the coin of Mammon and put it back on my Paladin.
One day I'll catch a break. Let's see.
Grief is hard.
Now, I've never done this with the coin of Mammon in my inventory, so I'm interested to see if I get any other conversations here. I don't know if I will, but...
My most perceptive, prospective customer, welcome back. You seek answers. Lord Mammon seeks coin. I will happily mediate. Make me an offer.
Okay, so there aren't any more dialogue options in here or anything like that. So I'll be taking the coin back up and putting it back in that coffin that's up there as well. So you can go about giving her money. However, the amount that you need to do, that you need to give her, is pretty high. And I'm trying to remember, I'm looking through my notes, because I think it's something like 10,000 gold or 20,000 gold or something like that. And you can go through that dialogue here. You can also do a quest for her where you need to bring her an item from the House of Hope instead, where you will promise to do that. So I'm actually going to take the Warlock Persuasion option here. This is only because I have a Warlock class, so if you don't have it, it's useful to respec into one you do, and make sure you've got enough Persuasion to be able to pass this.
The first hit's free, eh? Oh, fine. I'll humor you, mortal. Just this once. You stand before Mammon's picklock, latchkeeper of the 9 hells. My business is not information, nor hellish curios. Not really. I break people into the hells. That's my thing. I can reveal to you that I opened a portal for Lord Gortash. Raphael. That sounds vaguely familiar, but I have a terrible memory for names. The only thing that jogs it is coin. Oh, come now. Don't be miserly.
And yes, this leads you down that same path. After she gives you the first piece of information, if you pick the first option in that list, she will tell you that we had a contract for that one piece of information. The next piece of information is going to cost you more. Okay, so we're going to exit out of that and talk to her again.
My most prospective customer. Welcome back.
And here is her inventory. Now, we are going to start off next week by looking at her inventory and seeing if we want to purchase anything here. The one thing I will say before we end the live stream today is that normally when you look at her inventory, you see that she has a collection of dies. These are all the really good, very rare dies that Larian has put into the game. What you won't see is the rest of these items that are in here. Once you pass all of those Arcana checks out there, then it opens up her full inventory that you're able to take advantage of. And she normally has some really good spell scrolls. Again, Cloud Kill is really good. Evard's Tentacles is a really great area denial spell. So there's some good stuff in here, and we are going to also check out some of the dies as well. But we are going to do that.
Now you've seen what I have for thee. Remember, discretion is key at the Devil's Fee.
But we are going to do that next week. So we're going to drop a save here, and I've got so many saves that it's starting to take a while. There's a noticeable pause between my 8 playthroughs trying to pull up all the saves. So we are going to save that until next week. Now, next week is going to get very involved because, as a little hint, we are going to be going into Sorcerer Sundries. And there's a lot of stuff to do there and can get fairly complicated. So hopefully you'll come along and you'll be able to check out how that goes. So as always, thank you all for being here. The contributions from all of you in the chat have been great, as always. I really enjoy my community, so thank you all for being here. Because as always, without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.